guess.
It's not an interview.
What is it?
It's a documentary.
It's a documentary. Who's that, Mary?
Yeah, turn the garbage down.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta get together, closer.
shit.
Yeah, pretend like you like each other. Alright, say your full name for the record.
Antonio Ferdinando Garlo Tulio.
Ferdinando.
It's not his name.
Antonio Tulio.
What's your middle name?
Gerardo.
You are Gerardo?
Yeah.
It is. Paulina Anna Maddalena Tullio. Ricketts.
Wait, what's your middle name?
Anna Maddalena.
Madalena?
Yeah,
Madalena.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, things you figure out?
Your middle name is Anna
Madeline.
Madeline?
Yeah, Madeline.
Where did the Madeline come from?
I don't know. Somebody must have died and they named me.
I seriously, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's my confirmation name. So you use both.
Oh.
When you get confirmed, people come by the church and they name you. That's the name you get.
And so what I want to know from your perspective, the trip from Italy. What do you remember? Start from leaving the hometown.
I remember we left the hometown. We got into our cab. First time I've ever. Never been in a cab before.
You were never been in a car before? Macado?
Machina.
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 Magina.
That was the first time you were in a car is when you left Gallinaro to come to Naples.
That is correct. Yeah.
It was like a hour ride.
Oh no.
No.
It was about 2 hours.
Because it was going a lot slower back then.
Well, far
Was it
away.
gas powered or were they using the foot pedals? The Flintstone
Half and
feet.
half. You run out of gas, you get out and push.
Well, first of all, Uncle Danny and Grandpa came over first,
Yeah, they came over the year before. They came in '54.
and they worked and sent you
They
money back.
worked and they got settled with my uncle. And,
Uncle Larry.
Yeah, Uncle Larry. Then they came out and they got the papers all set. We were able to come with. And as a matter of fact,
Did you stay the night in Naples, or did you get up in the morning
oh
and
no,
go
we
right
got
on the
up in the
boat?
morning right on the boat.
Yeah, it was. I remember it was dark when we got in
dark,
the cab.
Right. And
Did anybody else come with you, or was it just Grandma and you two?
We're being interviewed.
that's it.
Just Grandma and you two.
Grandma and I too. And the boat that we came on was Andrea Doria. We got on a boat, but before we got there, the week before, it got canceled. And the Andrea Doria made another trip after we did. We were supposed to be on that same trip when it sunk. Andrea Doria sunk off the New York Harbor. With a ship called
How did
Stockholm.
we end up going first then?
We didn't go first. We held back before we came. I thought I was going to give you that.
So you were supposed to be coming earlier,
I was supposed to come in later.
later.
Yeah. So
That doesn't make sense.
they moved us up.
Oh, they moved us up. Okay.
Oh, you were supposed to be on the.
Didn't my dad pay somebody?
No.
I remember them saying they paid somebody and we traded places.
No, it was just one of those freak things that for some reason we got canceled. I never found out why.
What was the rooms like on the boat? It's like a bunk room.
It's
You
like
share with
it
other
was like a
people?
cabin room.
You share with other people?
No. You had your own.
But we didn't have like beds. We had bunk beds, didn't we? And
But Ma had a regular bed.
okay.
What was it like on the boat with Grandma? Was she scared the whole time?
Oh, she was fantastic.
That would be Aunt Mary's cell phone.
Yeah, I should turn it down.
Was she scared? Who scared the most?
Well,
Hi.
I wasn't scared. I was walking down these
Steps.
steps.
Did you know anybody else on the boat, or was it just you
No,
three?
it was just us.
No family, friends, no
No
relatives?
family. The only thing, her and I.
Do you remember going up and sitting on the floor? We were not on the luxury deck, okay? We were on the lower deck.
Third class.
Yeah,
Third
like
class.
at the bottom.
Yeah.
Do you remember sitting on the floor when we went up on deck, because there weren't chairs,
Yeah.
and there was this old lady, and she was telling me, I remember she said, when you go to America, don't do like those Americans. They put something in their mouth and they go, like this.
Chewing gum.
Remember?
Oh, chewing gum?
Yeah.
You didn't have that.
We didn't
back
have
then.
that.
Please.
And then they were trying to teach us how to say words in English, like sit and chair. I remember those two things. Like they said, you know,
Okay.
sit, it means you sit, and chair. you
Yeah,
know, they
that I
told
don't
us back
remember.
then. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
It was that,
And you said you had a lot of tomato soup.
Yeah. well, it's
No,
bad.
No.
we didn't have tomato soup till we got to New York.
Yeah.
Did,
On the
you
way
went
to-
through Ellis Island?
Yeah,
No.
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 We came through New
I
York
don't know,
Harbor.
you might have plans,
Yeah.
so.
They quit going to Ellis Island.
They closed it down.
They closed it down.
Right.
But
What was it like
Alright.
when you landed,
Alright,
when you
okay.
saw New York?
Talk to you later, bye.
my God,
The
never
lights.
seen so many cars.
Did you come in during the day or at night?
We came in the morning.
Yeah, but by the time we were processed, I remember
Oh, that
being
was
in the
dark.
car and it was dark,
Yeah.
and all the neon lights were on. And
You went through downtown New York, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
saw
I guess it was downtown New York. I don't know.
Broadway or whatever?
Yeah, but it was
neon lights everywhere that we had not seen. We hadn't seen electricity.
one thing I've seen, never seen before, all the black people. I did not know.
You're so close to Africa, though.
I know, but we thought it was, I thought it was, they worked in a coal mine. And they got all
Like
dirty.
dirty?
Yeah. But the
Come on.
shirt, couldn't figure out why the shirt wasn't dirty. Their skin was dirty.
And didn't we sit in the back seat of the car
Yeah.
on the floor?
No,
I did. I remember that
Because you were scared?
because I was scared of the cars coming at us.
So who picked you up
Aunt Lucy and,
Lucy and
her girlfriend
in New York?
yeah,
And they were living here in Detroit?
and
in Utica.
And so they drove all the way to New York to pick you guys up? So who's the uncle that I went with Grandma Tula with that lived in, I drove with Uncle Danny and Grandma?
That was her uncle. That was Grandma's uncle.
You remember his name?
I'd have to look it up. It was Maria Nivala's.
How come you didn't settle with him? Like,
because Uncle Larry was the one that drew the paper and guaranteed us employment and housing.
Yeah, you had to be sponsored back then. So Uncle Larry sponsored us, and so that means that if anything happened medically or anything, he's responsible.
Yeah.
Not
like
like
it is
today, no, where anybody
No,
can
no.
walk in and everything is free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
It was-
it didn't work that
it
way.
wasn't
back
free
then.
back then.
Well, you were obviously too young to work. I mean, you just.
Yeah, it was, yeah. My brother worked when he came with my dad, right on the sewer.
What was the first place that you guys all lived in together? Was it an apartment? Was it staying at
it
somebody's
was
We had an
Larry.
apartment with a mobile, off of a mobile station. And I remember the mobile emblem.
That was at Uncle Larry's house.
No, this
The
was
White House.
No, it was after we came out of New York.
Oh,
The night before.
yeah.
night-
No. Like, after
Michael
you got
living?
to Detroit, you guys were staying with Uncle Larry. And
Uncle Larry,
Lucy.
yeah.
And then Grandpa had enough money to get an apartment or
No,
a house?
no.
Where'd you guys live for your first?
We stayed with Uncle Larry for a year.
And then we moved to Detroit.
I'm
And
pressed.
Grandpa was working in the sewers?
Yes.
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
And he bought the house that his boss owned in Detroit, the Michaels, on Prest. And we stayed there, and then we moved to Winthrop. And
When we got to
That's it.
we got to Utica, we had to go to school. It was a law then.
You didn't know any English?
I had no idea what's going on.
And I lived down the street from Winthrop.
No, this was after that.
Huh?
That was after we lived on Utica. So they put us in a bus, and the bus picked us up, dropped us off at school, and then there was the teacher waiting for us to get into the class. I didn't know how to speak English, neither did she.
Who taught you how to speak English?
She did. I did.
You just learned in school?
Yeah, talk with each other.
Did they, anybody in school teach you English?
No, there was no,
No, there were no special
There
ed
was nothing like
classes.
that?
they threw us like sheep.
Yeah, it's not like today where they teach in Spanish or whatever to accommodate the illegal aliens.
I remember when we go home in the afternoon, her and I would talk, practice the language. I didn't know what I was saying.
And Uncle Tony, I remember him explaining to me what a block meant. I remember that because I couldn't figure out, what do you mean a block? I live a block away, or what's a block? And he
Measurement.
pointed, he says, this is the block. And we were like at the end of a block. And I'm looking around and I thought he meant the blocks on the houses. And then I think a year later it dawned on me, that's what a block means. They did something that was really, really bad when we started school in Detroit. I don't know if you remember, Tony, but Frank drove us to school the first day of school.
Mm-hmm.
You went to your class, and I was too young to be in that school, so they told me to go to another school that handled the first grade or whatever. And they gave me directions. Now, they gave a child that doesn't speak English directions.
You gotta walk?
Yeah, on how to walk. It was only like a block and a half away. But I got all confused and I got lost. So I walked around until like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon and just scared, crying. I would go up to people and they couldn't understand me. I couldn't understand them. And they just said, like, get out of here or whatever. And then finally I would go up. All I knew how to say was 15-4-4-4-4 pressed.
Yep.
But they couldn't understand what I wanted. So finally I walked and walked, and finally I found my way home. When I got home, Grandma Tulia was there. I think you were still in school, so it must have been maybe around 2, maybe 2, 3 o'clock, because he came home after that. But the principal was at the house, somebody else was there, and Grandma Tulia was there. They were trying to tell her that I was missing. She was crying, she was panicking, and didn't know who to talk to because nobody there spoke English or Italian.
That's not
But
fair.
they should have never let me go by myself, walking a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old. So, but anyway, that's about it. We're kind of boring after that.
After that, we got to know people and met people in the neighborhood we played with.
Mm-hmm. Kathy Hopper
Yeah.
was my first friend. I walked out of school and she goes, you live on Press. And so I said, I couldn't understand her, but I kind of nodded yes, I recognized the address. And then she walked me home and we just walked to school together. But her dad is the one that helped me. He taught me how to ride a bike and how to speak English. He was a fire chief. And so
When did Grandpa start cutting hair?
after he got his license, I would say maybe 2 years. Maybe, Tony, what do you think? After we moved
The
to
most
Detroit?
2 years. He didn't like to work.
Yeah, he didn't like to work. He wasn't a hard physical labor. He's kind of like Michael. Yeah.
Didn't he cut hair in Italy?
Yeah.
In the army?
In the army.
No, yeah, but
In
he,
the army. Then he learned how to cut hair in the army. And when he came out of the army, he had his own shop in Galinar.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
He had a barber shop there?
he had a little barber shop. It was a little hole in the wall. I forget where it was.
Did he name it?
No, it was just,
Tulio's?
No.
but wasn't, when
That
he
was
was
there,
little,
and also was a bar. During a holiday, he will open that, turn that into a bar. Just have wine, and stuff like that.
So nothing like drinking wine and cutting hair and
Oh.
getting drunk?
No, he cut hair during that time. He shut down
Oh, during the
during the
holidays.
during the holiday, yeah.
but didn't he say that when he was little, he would get out of school and go learn from the local barber because he always liked to cut hair?
Yeah.
That's really how he learned.
And the army is grandpa.
And then in the army, he rode a bicycle. He was on the, what did he do? Didn't he go and retrieve the people that were injured or something?
I have no idea what he
Yeah,
did.
he was in the mountains riding a bike. He was
I know he
the,
was a Brissayer.
yeah, he was a Bersaglieri, which is like a very high
Elite.
elite part of the.
But he got hooked up with the general, so he was his personal barber.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you remember the story he told us about when he stayed in the convent with the nuns?
It's
Do
9
you remember
o'clock.
that? Remember he?
Tony,
They were
it's 9
hiding.
o'clock. It's 9 o'clock.
Oh, sorry.
9 o'clock.
They were
Last
hiding.
story.
They were hiding from the Germans or whoever was bad at the time. And so they were in this convent, and these nuns, they played jokes on them. So they would put corks from bottles of wine, and you boil them, and then they would put them in the coffee,
It's like a laxative.
you know, and so the nuns would be, you know, holding their rosaries, walking, and they would start
farting.
farting.
Grandpa boiled them and
Put it in the hot coffee boiling, and so it caused uncontrollable gas. So,
Him and his buddy, you know.
yeah, he was, Grandpa was, he was a,
So we'll continue on this another time.
yeah,
All
we'll
right, sounds
continue.
good.
All right.
Give each other a hug and a kiss.
Aw.
Oh, there you go.